Hey, welcome back to another exciting episode of YOMO, a year of material learning. Today, we actually have a very special book that we're going to do a five-part series. And the book is Humankind, and it's a great book. And Chris will introduce you the reflection he has for part one.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite books. I know. I'm pretty sure you read this one too, right? I think.
I have not.
Uh,
I have not.
oh, you did. Oh, you did.
It is in my
Yeah.
my library. That's the next one up.
Oh, good. All right. You'll hopefully you'll enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah, this book is called Humankind: A Hopeful History by the author Rutger Bregman. This was an important milestone book because this is the first one that I had no intentions when I first started out with this whole journey. I was like, you know what, I think I'm gonna write, like, after like the first 30 days, I was like, I have so much more I want to say about like Sapiens and Black Swan and Thinking Fast and Slow and Seven Habits of Highly Effective People. And I had a few books that I was like, man, I don't know how to distill all that down into one reflection. So I was like, you know what? At the beginning of this, I wrote down like all the reflections that I wanted to write for a handful of my favorite books, and or let's just say the books that I learned the most from, which for me are my favorite books. But
Right.
this Humankind was the first book that was outside of that I was like, you know what? There's no stupid rules of this whole journey. Like, I don't know why. If I have a lot, if I feel a lot, then I learned a lot from a book, and I'm
Self-inflicted
applying it to my
rule,
life.
right?
Right. It was a rule where this one kind of broke the
Self-imposed.
rule, right? Yeah, I mean, because my
Uh,
rule was one reflection for each book, and then I would give my top five ones the ability to write up to five. And then this one just kind of broke the mold. I was like, you know what, that's it. I'm just gonna keep writing. That's fine. I just had a lot to say on this particular book, and
mhm,
really was one of my top favorites of this journey overall. So I'm excited to share the next couple days with everybody. So
mhm, mhm.
so real fast, I'm going to share my screen, give you all just a quick breakdown of what this book is about. So so essentially what this book is about, is throughout human history, we've had this, from whether it be psychologists or philosophers or ancient thinkers, whatever. Most people have the general assumption that humans are at their core bad, right? Like that's the general underlying premise, and I would say that was my underlying premise, especially before starting this journey. But even up to reading this book, I would say, if you had to ask me if humans are, the whole selfish gene, yada yada yada, like if when push comes to shove, it's like a dog eat dog world. It's kill or be killed. It's et cetera, et cetera. Like, that is, when you strip back all the layers of humanity, like that's what you would find at its core. Is like, look, we're out for ourselves, and if you just put us in a cage and said one of you only walks out of here, like, we'll kill each other. Like, that's I don't know. Was that your general thought of humanity, like either now or before, at any point in time? I mean, I don't know. What are your thoughts there, just at a high level?
For me, I was kind of neutral. Like I said, I asked the question before, where do you think humanity is going to be in the future? Will become extinct? And a lot of people say we will become extinct because it's the kind of things we do. And I disagree with that, right? And so
I
for
agree.
me, is I'm in the middle. I know
Right.
there are goodness in people, and yes, there are a lot of stories or whatever you want to call it. People have a bad rep just because you only hear about them if you did something bad, right? When you did something, let's say Einstein wrote on a table, 1 times 1 is equal to 1, 1 times 2 is equal to 2, and whatever, and basically he did 9 of them right, and he did one wrong. The only thing people can say, hey, you got one wrong. They don't
Right.
focus on the 9 thing he did right. He focused on the 1 thing that he did wrong. So
Sure.
that is the concept and the perception that people see. They only embellish the bad side versus the good side. The good side is
Yeah.
like, okay, that's norm. You can do 100 things that's right, and you do 1 thing that's wrong. You are known for that 1 thing that you did wrong. So for
Right.
me, I see that from the beginning, not from the beginning, but like before the
you,
uh
you, you,
before our journey. You know what I mean?
You just reminded me of this reflection that I just wrote about this book called Pickleball and the Art of Living a couple of weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I won't spoil the reflection, but at a high level, it was, like when you're playing tennis or pickleball or any activity, we've talked about this, like your elephants are just doing such an incredible amount of crazy things that, like, if you had to stop and think about everything that you were doing in just a swing mechanics of a tennis swing or a golf swing or anything, right? Like it would be impossible if you try to rationally think your way through, like, all right, excuse me, all right, I need to do this, then I need to do this, I need to do XYZ, and, like, try to rationally think your way through each step of the process. It doesn't work. Your elephants are doing some crazy calculations of angles, of speeds, of trajectories, of spins, of where your body is and where, in relation to the core. I mean, there's a whole lot of dynamic, like, you can never understand. Thing is to your point of we all call it the bad shit. Like, the only time you ever hear me ever say something to, if you will, is when I do something bad on the court and I'm like, God damn it, what are you doing? Get your shit together. It's supposed to be like this, or whatever.
Right.
And but I never say the 80 out of 90 times when we do something perfect where I'm like, damn elephant, that was hot, like,
yes.
you don't just hear me, like, that would be totally wrong. Like, that'd be weird if your opponent's on the other end of the net just going like, holy shit, I'm really good, this is amazing, like, like
yeah, people look at you weird, and I think we are conditioned to only perceive the bad stuff.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
And so that's why I think people only look at the bad things when they evaluate humanity. And like I said, in one of our meetup, we one of the why you yelling topic, I asked about the topic of, where do you think humanity? Everybody say humanity is going down the gutters just because we destroy the environment. We don't care about anything other than ourselves. We're selfish, bastards, and this and that. It's like,
we're bigots. We're awful. The world's falling apart. Like, yeah, you're right. You're right. We don't go, oh, we have like Steve's book Enlighten Now, like where we look at the progress we've actually made. This is the best time ever in the history of humanity, it, like, by exponentially by far, but we just don't see it. You're right. We focus on the bad shit. Hell, I was actually just using my new ball machine right before we jumped on here. I'm out the courts and just work myself, and I'm consciously telling myself these days, I'm trying. It's hard. It's actually really hard. But I'm consciously telling my elephant every once in a while when I'm like, God, good work. I mean, I know that sounds weird, but it's like, that all came together perfectly. Great job. Like I'm trying to stay out of it and disconnected from it. But, like, every once in a while I'm jumping it, because I only ever would jump in when something bad. But now I'm trying every once in a while. Hey, thumbs up, man. Like, like, great work. It's just been funny making that transition, because it's really hard, because, like you said, so ingrained to just always focus negative. And anyway, that's a good tee up to this book, right? Throughout history, like you said, we're just trained to focus on the bad shit. Like, are humans perfect? No. Do we do that maybe would kill somebody just because they want to kill somebody? Sure. But the idea of this book is
like I say, nine right and one wrong, and so you focus on the one wrong. I'm not saying you are 10 out of 10 right. There's one wrong, yes, but that's the one wrong. There's the 9 right that offset the one wrong. So you can't judge human based on that one wrong thing. Like, I'm giving you a conservative number of 9%, but I'm saying there's people who've done like thousands of things right, and then one thing they did wrong, they're known for that one thing that they did wrong. And so for a person with like a exemplary career, and then suddenly he laughed and did something, he smoked weed or something. Oh, Mr. President, you smoke weed. It's like, that's what you're known for. It's like all the things that guy did for you, where he help the ecosystem, giving you better wages, better life, better whatever. You didn't praise him for the thing he did right. You you doctor him for the thing that he did wrong in his lifetime, his one time in his career, his entire career, he did wrong. That's what he's known for. And so to me, that's not fair. That's not even balance.
No, it's
On
not
a
at all.
justice scale, it's like a 1 grain versus a sack of rice, right? So
Yeah.
that's how I see humanity, but is often skewed just because the conditioning of our brains is only designed to detect the wrongness
The
or
bad shit. Yeah, I mean, we gotta survive, right? Like if there's a python next to you, 1 out of 100 times, or 99 out of 100 times, 9.9% of 100 times, it's not a big deal if there's a snake. But that one time that it's a bad one, or whatever, you
yes,
got to be on hyper alert. Like, I mean, that
yes,
we're defaulted look for the worst, and then hyper focus on that because it's an evolutionary thing, right? I mean,
right,
we're gonna survive, like that one plague, that one disease, that one cough near you or whatever, like, yeah, it could take you out, like,
yep,
so I don't, I get it, I get why I do it, but this book is about the optimistic side of
right.
humanity,
It's
and it's
like
about all
it's
the good
looking
shit,
past that, right? You have to. It's ability is our ability to look past that one flaw, which is our tendency to be hyper alert for a situation that's be danger to us,
right
right? And you use the same lens to judge human humankind, using the same
at their
lens
core, yeah, right,
at the core, just because that's the only instrument you have.
right, yeah, right. I think we I don't know, I mean, I agree with you, like, there's not at this point out there in the world. Some of our most thinkers and philosophers, and and all point to when you strip it all down to its core. Well, this book was different. It took an approach. They looked at humankind as kind, and right, and that's who we are at our core. And it goes through a lot of different stories and a lot of different anecdotes, and he weaved his own story, all right, but that's how we think, is in stories. But it was a really compelling story to hear the opposite of what we always hear, to go, you know what, 99 out of 100 times I do hit a good shot on the tennis court. Like, it's the one time that I hit a bad shot, or not 99, you get my point. Like, but 80 times out of 100 times for myself, I'll hit a great shot, or something like that. It's the ones that I don't hit good, that I spend all day long focusing on and trying to correct, and yada yada yada, versus playing to our strengths. So long story short, the reflection of this one is be a realist. And what I mean by that is the real humanity, is we are inherently good, we are inherently kind people, we are inherently playful people, we are inherently loving people, we're inherently I don't know, you name it, like all the good stuff about humanity. We're inherently value driven people, we're inherently purpose driven people, we're inherently loving, caring, all the good things, right? Like, that's, I don't when I think about we've already, because we've kind of already touched on a little bit in my reflection, but the when I actually think about humanity, this is from my own personal, it made me think about Amelia, and it made me think about everything I went through with her. When you strip down, I mean, I had an atomic bomb that went off in my life. We talked about this a million times, right? And like, that literally strips you down to, in theory, like the whole point of the atomic bomb metaphor is it wipes everything of your world away, right? And you're looking at a blank slate, going forward. And I know when my humanity got peeled back down to the layers, what I found was love and kindness, and the desire to want to give, and the desire to want to help other people, and the desire to want to help myself, and the desire to want to be connected with other people, the desire to go find you, the desire to go find other people, the desire to go start clubbing, the desire to go do all this other really good stuff, when everything got taken away from me, and it was either give up or keep pushing forward. Like, that's what I found, like, right, like, and it wasn't, and I don't think I'm alone there. I think that the majority of humanity is when you look at all these different scenarios of different wars and different, when we come together, like after 9/11, like everybody doesn't break out in civil war. Like, it was rally around your people and give and run to the problem and help and and run straight into ground zero, and don't worry about your health and your own safety. It's go find these people. It's go help support the families. It's go do all these, like, that is what we do. Like when we strip down humanity to its core, in my personal opinion, we are just incredible givers, and you know, and honestly, it doesn't even make any sense if we weren't, because we wouldn't have society as it is today if it wasn't that way. Like, I mean, there's you have to work together to build skyscrapers, to go do like all the crazy shit that we do, to go do, like, you know, all the, like, to go to the moon. Like, I mean, you can't just do this stuff selfishly on your own. If we were, we would still be monkeys. That's why monkeys haven't done this stuff, because they're incredibly brilliant and talented just like us, but they don't work together. They don't care. They don't give. They don't have these extra, you know, emotional feelings where we're 10% B, right? You know, and we care about the collective. Like so anyway, the title of Be a Realist means that's what, to me, the real humanity is that I learned from this thing. So it's be a realist, and understanding that is humanity. That is who we are. That is how we live. That is how we're going to continue to be. And that's just that. So yeah, I'll pause there. I know we've already kind of been talking about it a little bit, but I'd love to get your thoughts just in general of, like, you know, who we are at our core.
So for me, I think humanity is more good than evil. Okay.
To what level? Like
I would
99% more good
I
than
would
evil?
say
Or
90% more good than evil. 90%. Okay. And the reason for that is and the 10% that I think we have that is evil is because we have been giving a skew of a goggles to look through. Because you look at about anyone who's going to war with another country, you can't go to war because you say, hey, you know, we take away somebody else's stuff. No one has ever gone to war to
No,
go and take away our stuff.
just protect yourself. Protect your own people.
Exactly, because they have been told that you are going to do your family a good deed. You're going to do your friends a good deed by taking, because they are going to take your stuff if you don't take theirs. Whatever the excuse,
The
was,
story,
I
you know.
did
Yeah.
this, right? So a lot of the people who went to war, and the people or the soldiers and whatnot, went to war because they were told, were sold a
Story.
bag of stories, whether it's
Yeah.
true or not, right? Most of the time isn't true. It's just because they just need you to do something, right? Because it's all about convincing somebody to think a certain way. But you think about it, no one has ever gone to war because they say, I don't like the other people, I'm gonna take their stuff. It's always about, hey, I gotta go to war because I gotta protect my family, my
Right.
friends, my community, my country. And that's the story that they believe in. That's the reason why they go to war. So yes, if you go to war, like if you're Germany in 1945, you went to war, it's not because you were bad, it's just because you were so a goggle that skew your perceptions of the people around you.
Right.
Just like, for example, in China and in third world country, I know this for a fact because I have people that is living there that comes here. The information that is available on the internet is always being curated by the people in charge,
Right.
right? And so they will feed you the stories they want you to know. If the story aligns with their agenda, then it's allowed to surface. The rest has been rejected from being shown up in a search engines or in an internet. So same thing in America, they do the same thing where there are certain media outlet, they have a certain agenda where they say, well, if you pay me more money, I will put your content on top, whatever the case. There's always an agenda that's beyond just the fact of, oh, I did this because I'm evil. No one's evil in that case. People are evil because of circumstances,
I agree.
because they have misinformations or they have a miscommunication. I went and I beat someone up because I thought he did this to me, or he something. Is a misunderstanding. The reason why I do something bad to somebody because I misinterpreted his intentions or whatever the case, and then that escalate without having again reconciliation. because if I beat up somebody, their friend's gonna beat up me, and my friend will up that person, blah blah blah. Just like back in the 1800, 1900, or whatever you want to call, like when somebody, let's say two men fight, right? And one man kills the other man. The son of the man that got killed will actually go seek revenge on the man that kills his father, and then kills his father, and then the son of the guy who got killed by the son goes back and took revenge. So it's like it's an eye for an eye. So everybody keeps coming back, and the cycle never ends. But
Right, but it's
the
always
thing
for a good
is,
reason.
because
It's always for a good in their opinion, you know.
because the thing is, for whatever reason, those two guys had some kind of disagreement. It may not be even a real disagreement, and they
Right,
happen to want to fight, and one of them died, right? And so yes, you think about the gangs and people who shoot other people. Yes, they believed they did the right thing, but they get the wrong information. That's why they believe in the wrong thing. And to me, that 10% is where you get all this evil stuff. In in what I now understand is, for us as humanity, and especially learning through you, is like we have the capacity to do one other thing that I don't think animals can do. That capacity is the ability to project your perspective into ours. We can basically project, um basically virtually, walk in somebody's shoe. So
right,
if I hit you, right, and you bleed, I actually feel it. I actually feel. Let's say even for me to go and beat up some cat or some dog, for example, I can't do it because I know it hurts. I know for a fact because it reflect on I reflect that back on me. Same thing when I read your book, right? I can imagine. I actually feel the grief that you have. Maybe not to the extent that you did, but I do feel it, and it creates a deep impression on me that I don't forget. I still remembers the moment when you took Amelia out of the machines, and you're holding her, and she was fighting for the next 7 hours. I can't forget that because I'm just reading a book. That's just word. There's no picture. But I was
right,
able to live that moment for a glimpse of it, and I think that makes us so unique, and that makes us, because if I can project myself in somebody else's shoes, right? That means that I understand. I can feel that, hey, if I do this to that person, man,
right,
I feel every single thing that I would come to me. And so in general, that's what I feel as humanity has. There are cases where somebody maybe have a mutation where they can't have those feelings. Yes,
right,
those happens, but majority of people are not. Majority should be able to feel the other people's feeling. They have this called EQ, right? Everybody heard of EQ, which is emotional quotients, right? And so EQ means like if I did something, if I say something inadvertently, I can tell if you are not happy, disappointed, or angry at me. I can tell, and you can do the
right.
same thing. And hell, a lot of people can tell if you're lying,
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
right? And so
100%. Yeah, I mean, it's
how would somebody detect that kind of deal? That means that you are so in tune with other people's feeling, right? You can detect if they're lying.
right.
That means that for you to be evil to somebody, you have to be able to cast out
Yeah,
that
yeah,
feeling.
you gotta be really, you gotta train yourself really, really hard to be able to lie to somebody effectively, like, and to manipulate people. I mean,
You
it's not easy.
you
Like, I mean,
can't.
it's
You can't. I believe you cannot do it because for me, it's like you
oh
can train
yeah, no,
yourself
I
really
agree with
hard,
you.
but you have to give yourself a
You have to believe
stronger
yourself.
reason to
Right.
do that to a person, right? Let's say you want to kill somebody or you want to hurt them so badly. There has to be a more compelling reason for you to do that, for you to pick that. You can't even train for it. Like the people who train for those, let's say, so you know how when a soldier goes to war, right? They kill somebody. They go back home, right? And they're lucky to go back home. They are they are dramatically changed as a person.
Yeah,
They have
it's awful.
PTSD and all the kind of the psychological
Yeah.
issues just because that is not something they could do. This is
So
not.
you're not supposed to. I mean, with some actually he talks about that a lot in this book. Um, as warfare gets further and further away from hand to hand warfare, I can't remember the exact statistic, but it was like it was like a large majority of combat soldiers, when they used to have to do hand to hand combat, would not kill somebody. They just couldn't do it.
You couldn't.
Yeah, right. So
The
it
thing
was
is,
different.
the only reason you fight back is because you have bullets flying all over the place, and that takes
Exactly.
over your
It's
emotion. So I
right.
don't think you
Exactly.
can get over. Even if you train, you still can get over it. You have to find a reason more compelling to do the thing you need to do. Just like,
Right.
okay, if I don't kill this person, they're gonna kill my wife, my mother, whatever. Then I have to kill that person, even though I don't want to. But the reason for me to do this is more compelling than not. That's why I do it. And so the people who does it, they are going to have like issues with psychological issues. That's why
Yeah. No.
even that they're gonna want to go back. Most of these guys have PTSD. Same thing with a police officer. He goes to a incident where he shot somebody. Right? They have to go to the psychiatric counseling just because make sure make. And most people like when they kill somebody, they throw up because
Right.
that doesn't sit right. And so that to me is what human nature has. And yes, there are certain cases where you have a rare symptoms, a rare genetic disorder where you don't have that feeling, and you can do that. But majority of people have quote unquote conscience. I don't know what you want to call it, but it's a conscience, and that conscience allow you to be a good person. No one is out there to get you. Okay,
Right.
no one is out there to get you. Yes, like in 1 hour and 1,000 cases where yes, somebody's going to kidnap you because they have some compelling reason to do, or they were told of some, different story that they need to do this or do whatever. But
Right.
people aren't out there to get you. They are minding their own business, trying to survive the game of life. That's what I think. And so to me, humankind is kind more than
Yes.
evil.
A
And
thousand
the
percent.
evil um percentage, it is based on misinformation or a story that was sold to them that they believe in without having the checks.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, well, we believe in stories. I mean, that's how we
We,
think,
we
and that's
do
how we
because
learn, and
if you
yeah.
go and you tell me, hey, let's say we know somebody, we say, hey, that guy there is bad, right? I
Donald
have
Trump is
I
bad. I mean,
I
let's just
have
say Donald
no
Trump is bad or
idea.
something.
Donald Trump is bad,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Let's say that you tell me that he's bad. Well, I don't have any other information other than what you told me,
Right.
right? And you keep saying, hey, he did this, he did that. You only tell me what he did wrong. You never told me what he did right, right? So
Right.
so the thing is, because I don't have any other comparison, I tend to believe you. And as you keep saying more and more, then people keep following along. And then after enough of this conditioning, brainwashing, quote unquote, brainwashing, I believe it. And then I told other people, and then everybody say Donald Trump's bad, or Donald Trump's good, whatever. So that's the case. The thing is, you have to be subjective in what you do. So for me, because I see the world in a different lens. I don't judge based on what I hear. I have to verify for myself. Otherwise, it's not fair because I don't want people to judge me on those premise. Therefore, I don't do that because that goes back to the same conscience again. Because I don't want them to do it to me. That's why I don't do it to them. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because
Yeah.
I feel it. I feel the judgmental, the kind of like the the outsider perspective when people is judging you and telling you, hey, you don't belong here, you're a bad person, you look like a criminal, or whatever the case may be. I don't want people to judge me based on a false premise, and so therefore I don't do it myself. And to me, this is a core of human conscience. This is a core of humankind. This is where human are kind rather than evil, and that's
100% agree. So ironically, I was talking to my father last night. I went over to have dinner at my parents' house with like Luca and my wife, and we were just having like a Sunday dinner together or something like that. My mom's an amazing cook, and yada yada yada. So it's something we do regularly. And after dinner, my dad was talking to me about something. Oh, they just got back from Grand Cayman. They have like a timeshare down there. They go pretty regularly, and they had just gotten back on Friday. So it was Sunday. So it was a couple days later, and my dad, my pretty hardcore and conservative kind of person, something of those lines, and he was making a joke about at McDonald's at the airport now. When you go to the Indianapolis International Airport, it's literally it's a kiosk. You just push like what you want your order, and somebody comes out and I don't know. Have you seen that yet? Like
yeah, I use it all the time.
right. So he was getting like a McMuffin or whatever before their flight, and he was joking about. He started going on this rant about how like Bernie Sanders, the minimum wage, and like this is what McDonald's ended up doing, and this is what you get when you start to push blah 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 blah. And I kind of pause him, like, look, just to be clear, like I'm not a Republican, I'm not a Democrat, I label myself maybe a libertarian, but I wouldn't even label myself that. I don't know. I'm all over the map because that's how. But I don't really believe in binary, a lot of, and neither do you. And that's one of the reasons why we're able to connect on a lot of this stuff, because we're open to hearing other things. But my dad in particular, he's got this idea in mind of, this is what a liberal is, this is what a Democrat is, this is blah, 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 blah. And, he's just going on a tangent about this minimum wage and automating jobs. And this is what you get. And I'm like, and I was like, hold up, Dad. I was like, before you're like demonizing these other people, do you think that they don't want these people to be, to have a living and a successful life? Like, do you think that that's not their goal? And he was like, well, no, I'm sure that it is. And I'm like, is that not your goal? Do you root not be able to pay their bills and to not be able to live and not be able to? I don't want that. And I'm like, okay, well, that's like, I'm like, let's go there. Like the reason I'm bringing this up is like there's commonalities always like between sides about like what they're going after, and it's just a different. I mean, it has nothing to do with whether or not humans are good people or they're Democrats are bad or they really only care XYZ or this. You just the group think of what that particular group is about. And like to your point earlier, nobody ever goes to war against each other just because because they hate them. They've convinced themselves through a lot of different internal cultures and sayings and mottos and get granular on that particular issue. That might make more sense to not have a minimum wage. I don't disagree with my father on that one, but at the same time, they're not. These people aren't proposing this because they want to destroy jobs either. They want anyway. I'm just kind of ranting about this at this point in time. But the point I wanted to get across to my dad was like put yourself in there first before you ever
right, because
go on your
the thing is, have any one of us, if you ask, let's say you're in kindergarten, ask Chris, hey Chris, what do you want to do when you grow up? Oh, I want to work at McDonald's. Has anyone told you that? Right. And
No.
so for us to get a job, people
I could actually see somebody love McNuggets and they were like,
but
oh my God,
I'm saying like, like forget about the the outlier, okay? Like I say, I really want to work McDonald's at minimum wage and I'm going to serve hamburgers, right? Is that what people want to hear from their kid? So back in the 17, 16 centuries, whatever you want to call it, right? There's no plumbing. How do people get rid of shit?
Good question.
There's a shit carrier.
Oh, really?
Is that how you pick up trash? You pick up shit.
Yeah, there's a shit person. Yeah.
So the thing is with the plumbing, like indoor plumbing, you got rid of those jobs, and those people or the shit carrier become extinct. They didn't have no more shit to carry, therefore they just extinct. So do you think they want to be a shit carrier? So the same thing I'm asking you is that, do you want, this is your aspiration. Hey kid, what do you want to do? What do you want to be when you grow up? I want to work at McDonald's as a whatever deliverer, like the Big Mac deliverer, the chicken McNugget deliverer, right?
Right.
The order taken McDonald's. It's like to
Right.
me, the thing is, it's not like if we are in the knowledge era, the information era. It's the
Right.
knowledge economy, right? You are paid for your knowledge, not paying for your labor anymore. So you give
Right.
the job that nobody wants to the machine, just like windshield wipers, right? If you don't have windshield wiper, how do you wipe windshield? You gotta have to find some two guys just like stand outside your car and ride along, just like hang like
Right.
they hang on to some kind of a train rail, and then they wipe it for you, right?
Right.
That job could exist, but it didn't. There's a windshield wiper for it. There's so many jobs that you don't want. It's not like you want that job. So getting rid
Right.
of a job isn't a bad thing. It's supposed to be a
Oh,
good
I
thing
didn't say.
because
I
you get
agree.
promoted to a better job.
Right.
Who want to be a shit carrier? Who wants like okay, instead of into plumbing, right? You can be a plumber. You can build the plumbing, not be carrying the shit.
Right.
I'm
I'm
just
with you.
saying. I'm just saying, right?
No, no,
So
I don't disagree with you at all. I mean, like, who's say imposing a $15 an hour tax hike wasn't a good thing because it got rid of the shit carriers. Like people that shouldn't
yeah,
be doing those things, they can go find a better job and
because
allocate
it
their knowledge to
forces
something
you to
more
say, okay,
valuable for.
what can I do now that is not
And it forces a business to do that. Say like we don't need a shit carrier.
because
Like
the
we can do
economy.
better than.
Yeah, the economy is going to go around because if the McDonald's is not paying um the um the high wage for somebody who is delivering food or who taking orders, the machine can take it. They can lower the economy of scale. That means that the products go cheaper. When a
Right.
product's cheaper, right? Then the supply can be cheaper and everything can be cheaper. Whenever it's cheaper, there's more opportunity to go around, and the people who buys them are cheaper, right? You as a shit carrier can actually buy and afford a McDonald's and eat it yourself
Yeah.
and go do something else better, right? And
Right.
because there's more money to go around, they will willing to hire you to go, hey, let's create some art or let's create some whatever you're good at. Hey, teach me English. A lot of people will pay you a bunch of money to teach them English. They're from
Right.
China, from whatever. They teach English and make a boatload of money. You can do that. You have the ability to speak English. You can teach
Right.
them English. You have the ability to go and like I don't know, drive a UPS truck, right? Everybody needs to get Amazon stuff delivered, whatever. They pay
Right.
you $30 an hour. So you want $50 an hour doing a job you hate or doing something because so for example, Amazon, right? They want you to become a business owner. They say, hey, I will give you $10,000 as a so you can apply to be an Amazon driver, but it's
Mhm.
actually your own business. You don't actually work for Amazon. You have a contract with Amazon
Right.
to work with them as a partner, as a delivery partner, right?
Mhm.
So so they give you $10,000 to invest in and buy your own truck and drive and become a business owner. You can make as much money as you want. So you become a business owner. You make as much money as you want. You work whenever you want, right? You just take the contract. The job comes in. You take the job and you do the work. And so
Right.
even for that, like instead of going to McDonald's and work there minimum wage forever, you can become a person that you can enjoy more life. You can, let's say somebody likes to go different places, meet different people, right? That's something that's good for them. They never thought about it unless they are forced to think, hey,
Yeah, you get to go live your values. Is what we preach, right? Meaningful work. And
exactly, because
doing
I
stuff
think
doing stuff that matters to you.
you're made to do something more better than anyone else. No
Right.
one can be better at being you than you. So
Right.
find out what it is you can do, and because without this McDonald's minimum wage job that is so low that people aren't gonna pay you for it, you have to say, well, I have to reflect on myself and say, okay, this is not what I want. I need to find something else better. No one has ever told me, and I don't know, but I'm saying, hey, I'm not talking about the outliers. No one has ever told me when I grow up I want to be a McDonald's employee as a food deliverer. It could be, hey, I own a McDonald's franchise, yes, but
Right.
not a employee. I want to own the restaurant,
Yeah.
not work in the restaurant, delivering food for taking orders for minimum wage, like at night, in night shift, day shift,
Right.
whatever weird hours that McDonald's open. No one has told me that. I don't know about you, but you know.
No, I don't think that's ever been told to me either. But we're a little over time and off topic today. So let's you want to put a pin on this one, and we got 4 more to go of Humankinds. But you know, I can't wait to dive into it in the next couple of days here. So any other final thoughts here?
Yeah, Humankind is kind.
It is. I mean, I love the name. The name of the book is it's a really catchy name because it always reminds me of humankind. You know,
Humankind.
You know,
Yes.
yeah. So the question we can leave for anybody tuning in would be, what would happen if you assumed everyone you met was inherently good versus selfish? You know, so you know, take that.
It actually changed your perspective.
It does. Yeah. I mean, if you walked up to any random new person you met and you thought, hey, like we talked about this really early on, as begin each relationship with belief, right? You know, if you like, I'm about to go start, you know, my own new sales team. And next week is when I start my new job, right? And like if I walked into that and I was taking a human bad approach, you know, I'd be like, well, this guy, you know, doesn't have a great history, track record. Everybody tells me he's, you know, blah 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 blah, like, you know, can't do this, can't do that. You know, I'm going to be like, oh, well, I'll give him the shit territory. I'll give him like whatever. You know what I mean? Like you could easily start off every relationship already going, well, this is my superstar. These are my B players. This is my D player. This is my F player, you know, random all, you know, whatever. No, walk up. Who gives a shit about what you do anyway, about what outcomes you produce? Like walk up and say, hey, I think you can do great. And we're going to try our best to do great together. And I totally believe in you. And I hope you totally believe in me. And just that statement alone, like most people would probably be like, all right, we're gonna do this. You know, like I've had bosses before that just suck and just tear the whole team down, and you're just like,
it's
why
about
are you doing this?
perspective.
You know?
It's about perspective. They're shitty because of their perspective, not because of who they are. Right?
Exactly.
They're shitty because they are afraid of something. Right?
Anybody can learn anything. Anybody can learn. Like, I mean, I don't give a shit how much experience you have in a job or don't. Like anybody can do my job. I guarantee it. Like anybody can do my job. Like somebody just got to believe in them, give them a chance to do it. Like, you know, like that's about it. You know, like luckily my boss believes in me. That's why they wouldn't have hired me. Hopefully, I mean, they continue to believe in me, and I'm going to believe in my team. You know, and all that other good stuff.
Yeah.
So, so anyway, all right. I just said we were done, and then I kept talking. So my bad. Awesome. All right. Well, we will see you all tomorrow, and thanks for tuning in. And
stay tuned in for part 2. We'll see you. Good night.